All right, back on Get Up, the one, the only. J. Will is in our studio.
Shoot
Let's
it.
Shoot the J. Should Zion and the Pelicans part ways, yes or no?
No. I'm sticking with it for one more year, but I am telling you, I'm starting to get concerned. When you start hearing about the lack of the relationship between David Griffin, the front office, and Zion overall, but I do feel like the trade value is down right now. I try to give it one more year to increase the value and then get it for a higher return.
Let me go to Golden State next. If they can only afford to keep one, how about keep Clay or Draymond?
I'm the one that came on your show and said that I would trade Clay and Jordan Poole for Bradley Beal.
Right.
I am keeping Draymond Green. I think he is the heart and the soul of the team. I think they will settle for somewhere around 3 years, $75 million.
Okay.
I think that'll be a settling point for him.
All right. That clearly, and then the Clay of it all becomes an enormous mystery going forward.
Especially if he's looking for a supermax.
Then let's go to Beal. We all know where he wound up. Does that trade to Phoenix make KD and the Suns the best team in the NBA?
No, and I'm not going to be disrespectful to Denver. Denver is the best team in the NBA. I still have to see where Phoenix lands on some of those additional pieces. If they're able to flip a guy like DeAndre Ayton. But if DeAndre Ayton is on his team, I do think he has a chance to be talented, but I also think he's the weak link for the team moving forward.
All right, so there's basically all signs, always, all roads lead to Kevin Durant. And you know what he was doing yesterday? He's back on Twitter like crazy, right? So he's responding to people left and right. And one fan wrote, "Why do you always focus on your haters and don't reply to fans? Please reply." And he wrote back, "Hate drives me. Too much love will kill you." Can I get a T-shirt with that on it, please? It's a fascinating life philosophy. But what do we? Alan Big Perk gets up with us early this morning, and he jumps in. Let me start with you on that. You know KD well. I mean, all this. He's back on Twitter yesterday, he's saying all this kind of stuff. He's responding to all these questions about Phoenix and his place in this and that and all the rest of it. How about the KD of it all in Phoenix right now?
Look. This is KD's. This is a great opportunity for him to win a championship, and this is who he is. All this does fuel him. And you have to say, on paper, like there is no better top four in the league than Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. You think about the likes of what they add with Bradley Beal and then DeAndre Ayton. Like they should have, if you could put the right pieces together, they should win a title. There's no doubt about it. But wouldn't you rather be in this position than not be in this position?
Yeah, of course. So Big Perk, that brings up a question that has come up a lot here in the last few days. Does Kevin Durant have anything left to prove or not?
Well, obviously, from his Twitter responses, he feel like he does, Greeny. And the thing that I love about KD is that he sees and hears everything. And so that if he's back on social media responding, then he's in the gym working. And we posted that photo. We saw that photo that they posted yesterday with him and Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. The one thing that we didn't point out was that KD looked like he'd been eating dumbbells. He looked like he had a little size on him. He looked like he'd been in the weight room. Look, Kevin Durant is hard on himself as anybody when it comes to him working on his game. We saw what he did in the regular season when healthy, how efficient he was from the field, shooting 55%. KD is going to come back with something to prove, and not just for the world, but to himself.
What do you think, Alan?
I just think, again, we have to hold reserve judgment on this team until we know what the rest of the roster looks like. Because this was a team last year, if they keep it the same, that had Chris Paul and still went in the second round and was 2-2 with the Nuggets. And no one else really pushed the Nuggets other than the Suns. So you add Bradley Beal to it, perhaps you have a team that can now outscore. But it's all about the defense and the rest of that roster before we can really decide.
I hear what you're saying, but can I push back on one thing quickly? They're going to fill out the roster with NBA caliber players, right? We just saw a team that had Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson make it to the NBA Finals. So we're talking about a team now that has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal on it, and we're worried about who their eighth man is going to be?
Yes.
I'm a little confused.
No, here's why, and I'll explain it to you. Maybe this will help fix your confusion.
Look at that. I'm preaching. He's fanning himself.
Sweating already early in the morning. How many games has Bradley Beal played in the last couple of years per season? So you don't know how much he's available. We don't know. All of a sudden he's going to find health in Phoenix. I understand there's some really good spots there.
He was in Washington, man. Have you seen there?
You all of a sudden get healthy.
Go Perk.
Go Perk.
Allen, he had no reason to try to find health with the Wizards. They wasn't going anywhere. Even if he was about 70%, why even attempt to come back? You're not going to make the postseason. And to Greeny point, and let me add to Greeny point, the one thing that we're not saying enough is that they have a new coach in Frank Vogel, who, by the way, led LeBron James, Rajon Rondo, Anthony Davis, and Dwight Howard to an NBA championship. So now, you don't think that Frank Vogel is proven enough that he could come if they do decide to keep DeAndre Ayton to get the best out of DeAndre Ayton? The reason we didn't see DeAndre Ayton there and his enthusiasm was into the game was because of the beef that he had with Monty Williams. Monty Williams is removed. Frank Vogel is a certified, approved coach. I believe that if they keep DeAndre Ayton, he's going to approach this season with new life, new energy. And again, you have Isaiah Thomas and James Jones running the front office. We are in June. Like Greeny said, they're going to fill in the gaps when it comes down to completing this roster. You don't think they're working?
So, Perk, I'm with you,
still?
Perk. I'm with you, and I'm on the same page as you. I do think there's some questions. Here's a question I do have, though. Devin Booker now is going to be your PG. They're going to increase the pace of the game, right? So in certain situations of the game, I do wonder how that's going to pan out. But the odds are going to be in their favor. They are the most talented team in the league.
Right. And a year ago at this time, if I had said to you, the Nuggets just added Bruce Brown and drafted Christian Brown, we would not be saying, oh, that's going to be what puts them over the top.
All I know
when you
is we
surround
never
the right
blame
guys with good guys, good things happen.
We never blame players, so it's Doc Rivers' fault in Philadelphia. Now it's Monty Williams' fault in Phoenix.
No, we blame players.
We blame players.
We blame players.
That's a whole separate
point. We always
point.
blame players.
I don't disagree with you. We're at least going to play some defense.
DeAndre Ayton's suddenly going to be happy, and Bradley Beal's suddenly going to be healthy all the time.
All right, let me play a different game here. It's called What If. Here we go. Jay Will, what if James Harden comes back to Philadelphia? What happens with Joel Embiid?
He better be unlocked.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse better set the offense. And by the way, if James Harden does come back to Philly, he better be ready to be challenged because the way James Harden's been playing, even when he had his game one against the Boston Celtics, he needs to play differently in order for Philly to win a championship.
Hey, Big Perk, if the Blazers, what if they keep that number 3 pick? They draft a player there. What happens to Dame Lillard?
He'll be on the first thing smoking. Dame will get out. That's what's going to happen. It's that simple.
I like that. We talked about it earlier this morning. He'll be on the first thing smoking. And then Allen, here's one we haven't talked about much. What if Kyrie comes back to the Mavericks? What happens to Luka?
A year from now, topic bar, Luka Doncic. What would be a good trade partner for the Mavericks for Luka Doncic? Because he won't be happy. He's not going to be happy. You have to focus on your best player. It's the same story in Philly. Embiid is the guy you got to focus on there. In Dallas, you got to focus on Luka and make sure you're doing right by him and not worry about Kyrie and making sure he's happy. It's all about Luka.
What?
Yes.
Okay, let's focus on Luka. Let's focus on your conditioning.
Let's do it.
Let's focus on you actually getting other players involved instead of airing this thing out and dribbling around Greeny all the time and holding the ball into the end of possession.
I'm sorry.
Why is Kyrie being blamed for Luka's inability to make other players around him better? I'm lost here.
What was their record?
We're blaming Kyrie now?
Wait. I easily answer this. 2 years ago, what did Luka do? They got to the Western Conference.
They had all the pieces.
How'd that work out?
What pieces did they? Who was on that team? Who was on that roster?
They traded all of them
for
Kyrie Irving.
Thank you.
And left one of them.
Yeah, but how's that on Kyrie?
I didn't say it was on Kyrie. What I'm saying is you got to build the roster right around him, and I don't think Kyrie's the right fit.
Okay, so let's take Kyrie out of it. But what happened here is that Kyrie is skewing the discussion. The discussion that Allen is having is the Mavericks have sort of fallen apart around Luka Doncic. Oh, by the way, they absolutely tanked their way out of the play-in tournament, and then one play-in team got to a conference final, and the other made it to the finals. So they embarrassed themselves on every conceivable level. Wow. Big Perk, how about Luka in Dallas? Go.
Well, one, Luka got to be in shape. That's the first thing. And I thought the Dallas Mavericks did do right by him by going out and get Kyrie Irving. They see how much they miss Jalen Brunson. Kyrie Irving came in, and Kyrie Irving delivered last year when he was on the floor for the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. Now it's on Luka. Here's the thing about Luka. Luka has to do a better job of trusting others around him. Because I'm going to tell you, if the word get out, which is now starting to circulate, that Luka is too ball dominant. Nobody wants to stand around and just be in the corner waiting on a pass to come with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Luka has to do a better job of trusting his teammates, or nobody is going to want to play with Luka in the near future.
So, Green, just to add to what KP just said, people will say, well, Dallas isn't a place that attracts free agents. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Well,
a lot of it has to do with Luka being too ball dominant.
I guess.
People around the league talk about it.
When has Dallas been a free agency destination?
Yeah, and look, I mean, we've said the same thing about James Harden forever, right? And I mean, there's a similarity there. Luka Doncic, I mean, to Alan's point, they were in the Western Conference Finals a year and a month ago, and now they look like one of the worst teams in the entire NBA.
They have built backwards. He is a young star. He was an MVP candidate to start the year, and you have to make sure that he remains your focus. End of story.
All right.
He was out of shape.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.